Inspector Lee Brockman from the Lloydminster RCMP joins us now, recapping 2020. Inspector Brockman, just give us some of the highlights as a detachment for the year of 2020.
2020 has been a busy year and a bit of a different year as well for the Lloydminster RCMP. Back in January of 2020, we had a couple of town hall sessions, and we gave us an opportunity to hear directly from the residents of the city of Lloydminster as to, what they thought of policing and areas that perhaps could be enhanced, or things that they'd like to contribute or offer for feedback, and which was great. We heard a lot about wanting from the public for the RCMP to enhance communication with the public and focus on some community or some policing issues like drugs and localized crime groups and things like that, as well as property crime reduction as kind of priorities. And so we rolled that feedback into our strategic planning process for the current year, and over the last year, we've placed a strong emphasis here on proactive policing efforts, right? So getting out and we've developed a whole of detachment approach to proactively reducing crime in the area through things like, deploying police officers in areas that they're most needed, depending on what's going on at any time, looking at how can we address some of the issues with some chronic offenders, and then developing some partnerships as well with other organizations to build that wraparound support for some of the folks here that would benefit from that. So that's kind of been our kind of overall crime reduction plan, and we've seen a lot of success with being out and proactively policing the city from that perspective, right? And we've done some things as well internally to free up police officers' time to be on the road, even more engaged in our communities. We find that through enhanced visibility and just being out there, we can help help reduce some of the occurrences that are going on, and by proactively addressing some trends before they become larger issues as well. I guess over that, we've looking at it from a numbers perspective. There's been some big gains so far this year as well, including currently, this is data compared to the same time period in 2019. Right now, our property crime overall is down about 8% in the city compared to this time in 2019. Within the property crime area, we've seen a 21% reduction of theft of vehicles so far, 35% reduction in theft under $5,000 occurrences, 39% reduction in theft over $5,000 occurrences, and about a 23% reduction in possession of stolen property. And right now, we're trending on about a bit of a reduction on break and enter occurrences as well, which is very positive. We've seen reductions in some areas of persons crimes as well, although there's and we've seen a reduction in motor vehicle collisions by about 28%, which is good.
One of the programs I wanted to talk about was the prolific offenders. Give us an update on that and how effective it's been in the community.
Sure, and that's when we talk about our focus on some of our chronic offenders, right? So identifying through, being intelligence-led in our approach, right? And identifying through a variety of means, the small number of individuals that cause a disproportionate amount of crime and disorder in our community, and working proactively to try to deal with that, whether it's through, some proactive enforcement, making sure they're being compliant with any release conditions they may have, that folks may have on them, and things like that. And looking at, who do we have evidence to believe is causing a larger amount of problems in our community, and how can we best work with our partners and from an enforcement standpoint as well as a wraparound standpoint to address that.
You touched on it earlier that there is a decrease in property crime within the city, but there's also been an increase in mental health calls as well. Let's talk about the reason that you are seeing a higher volume of calls regarding that subject.
Yeah, we have been seeing some increases in mental health calls this year. I think there's a variety of factors at play there as well. But I do think that mental health calls they are currently increasing, and so I think we need to take a look at that and see how we might best partner with some of our partners in the health services field and human services field to try to address that. I know some communities have different units where the police will partner up with some support units and try to attend calls for service in that way. through, and obviously for us, using de-escalation techniques and things like that, right? And recognizing that mental health calls are a medical emergency first, and dealing with any aftermath after that.
As a detachment as a whole, has there been anything in 2020 that you felt didn't really go the way that you guys have wanted to, or maybe some things flew under the radar? And if so, what were they?
I think overall, I'm quite pleased with the progress that we've been making, especially when it comes to reducing property crime. We are seeing a bit of an increase in persons crime right now, and so that's something that we need to take a look at for the next, going forward too, right? So, but I think overall we've made some good progress, but as with everything, there is still some work to do, right? So it's, looking forward to 2021, we're going to be looking to further refine our crime reduction strategy and enhance some of those measures and build some additional partnerships. Getting feedback from the community is also very important when it comes to our priorities as well. So we just finished a virtual town hall there in November, the Let's Talk Policing campaign in partnership with the City of Lloydminster. And so through community engagement, where we're listening to the community and we're hearing what the community has to say about policing and crime in public safety in the City of Lloydminster. We're really appreciative of the feedback that we've had from the community so far, and we're looking forward to doing more of that moving forward too. So.
And lastly, Inspector Brockman, is there anything else you want to add as we get ready to move into 2021?
I know I'd like to get across the point that, we are out in the community and through, I don't think any conversation about 2020 would be complete without mentioning the COVID-19 pandemic that's been, impacting everybody, right? And so we've seen some impacts on policing as well, right? Whether it's, all of our members are interacting with the public now with PPE, with personal protective equipment on right now. And we've made some refinements in some of our processes in terms of, some of our front counter operations, just refining those processes. We're still open and doing business, but we're just kind of doing it in a different way. And we've developed a local callback unit as well, right? Which was designed in part out of a response to the pandemic, but has turned, we've been recognizing it as a beneficial support to enable frontline police officers to be on the road a little bit more by freeing up some of the time for the calls that don't perhaps require the physical attendance of a police officer. So just being more proactively engaged in the community there. So, and we're also working to develop a diversity and inclusion advisory committee as well to help inform our strategies moving forward to make sure that they're inclusive and representative of the entire community.
Inspector Brockman, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us and giving us a recap of the year of 2020 for the RCMP detachment. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks, Connor.